Because, contrary to popular belief, not everyone who plays D&D is a professional voice actor. Hello, my name is Haley Whipjack. You can call me Haley, you can call me Haley Whipjack, you can call me Whipjack, you can honestly call me whatever you like as long as you're cool about it. First things first, I moved, so this is a brand new setup. Let me know what you think. We're not talking about me today, that's not why we're here. We're talking about character voices in D&D. Character voices in D&D. Now this is going to be primarily aimed at fellow dungeon masters who are going to have a whole host of NPCs that you want to have at least kind of distinct voices, at least. But all of this advice does also hold if you're struggling to find a voice for your player character, your primary character as well. Now, doing character voices in D&D is not a necessary part of the game, not at all, whether you're DMing, whether you're playing, no matter which side of the table you're on, but they can be very helpful for a few different reasons. Reason number one, it helps the players and DM get more invested in the world. It helps it feel real. It helps flesh it out a little bit. It's easier to get connected to a world full of people that feel even just a little bit more real. Reason number two, and this one's good for table management as well, character voices can help separate in-character and out-of-character chatter. No more responding to something in character only to be told that the thing that you're responding to was said out of character and doesn't exist in the real world, and now what you're saying doesn't make any sense and everyone's confused. We want to get rid of that. We want that gone. Reason number three, character voices are a good and fun time. Now, depending on your current stance on character voices, reason number three might sound like a lie. It's not. The idea of putting on a voice can be very stressful for a lot of people, especially if you haven't done it before and you don't have a huge repertoire of voices or accents or affectations locked up in your head. If that's the situation you're in, you might be thinking about trying to put on a full Scottish accent and it sends you into an absolute panic spiral. We're going to talk about ways to do it that aren't that. So let's get into it. How do you put on a character voice? This is going to sound underwhelming after all of that, but option number one is don't. And this is the number one ground rule. Don't is an option. You do not have to do a character voice if you don't want to. You don't ever have to do a character voice if you don't want to. Character voices are just like fun, but not if they cause you so much stress that they cause the game to stop being fun. I know I've already said something similar. I'm saying it again. Don't let anyone make you feel like less of a D&D player or less of a dungeon master for not having a million silly voices you're ready to whip out at all times, okay? Promise me that? Option number one is don't. That's always an option. But moving forward from here, we're going to be assuming you do want to do that, and that's why you clicked on a YouTube video about it, okay? Yes? Excellent? Great. Option number two, accents. When thinking about putting on a voice, the instinct for most people is to do an accent. This is unnecessary. And sometimes, this is fully the wrong choice. If what you're thinking about going for is a stereotyped accent of a group of people that you do not belong to, maybe think about not doing that. But looking at accents as an option for character voices, if you've got a little bit of an accent you can do most of the time, it's a great fallback. Maybe half of your characters have the exact same accent you do. What a fun coincidence. And the other half sound a little bit British. British is always one that I fall back to. And you might be asking, how do you get comfortable doing a British accent? Get a Doctor Who fixation in middle school? That's what I did. Or you could always go for like a Southern American accent. That's a really good one. And you might be asking, how do you get comfortable with a Southern American accent? I don't know that. Don't ask me that. But that's okay too. Because sometimes it being a bad accent is fun. If you're not self-conscious about it and you and your players are all giggling at your attempts to portray an Australian high elf, that's classic comedy in D&D, baby. That's not what a French accent sounds like. Good thing there's no France in this kingdom. I've spent kind of a long time now talking about accents, only to now say, do not worry about doing accents. It's not a necessary step at all. I've personally found that trying to add accents to my characters only makes me stress out, and I can only hold it for like half an hour at a time, and then it becomes something else anyway. So I'm nixing option one because I do want to do a character voice, and I'm not comfortable with option two because I don't want to do an accent, even if it's a bad one. What is my option now? Option number three is what I call affectations. Instead of going for a full accent, you can instead add certain affectations to your own voice, just little things. And here are some options of things you can affect. Pitch. Does your character talk way up high? The level of formality your character speaks at and their use of contractions. Is this character one that would always say the full version of cannot, would not? You would never catch them dead saying can't or wouldn't. It just doesn't suit them. The actual speed that you're talking at, that can say a lot about the type of character saying those words. Now, for you as a player or a DM, I will say, going faster is much, much harder. Going slower is much, much easier. And you can think about what kind of characters are more likely to speak very slowly, choosing every single word very carefully. Slower speech and a higher level of formality kind of instantly portrays this idea of authority. Wouldn't up the pitch, though, for that one personally. Breathiness. Does this character use far too much air in every word? I find that one exhausting and annoying to do personally, but I always think it's fun when other DMs do it. You can add some gravel or some gruffness to your voice. I would love to demonstrate this one to you, but it actually hurts me very badly, so I will not. Vocal fry, my best friend, and the enemy of anyone who's ever written a think piece about the speech patterns of a Kardashian. It's that sort of sound that you can get at the ends of words or the middle of words if you're trying really hard. I personally find it really difficult to try and ramp up vocal fry on command. I know I do it plenty of times. There was. One of my personal favorite affectations is just to hit the T sound in words really hard. I don't know exactly what that accomplishes, but it really feels like a character voice. It makes my speech much bouncier. I just like it. You can also really draw out your vowel sounds. This to me is different than speaking slowly. I think speaking slowly is taking time between words and phrases, but drawing out your vowel sounds is a different sort of vibe to me. I think I hit the F in different really hard. I guess F is a vowel sound to me. And what are you going to do? Tell me it's not? This is the easiest one of the day, adding more filler words into your speech. More ums, but, just sounds even. What kind of character voice is just saying a lot? I don't know. I think that maybe we should go over here, but I don't know if I just wish that you sound nervous. You sound young. You sound naive. You sound like a little guy who works at a bar but doesn't actually know everything that you need, but knows just enough, but is nervous to give it to you. Hello? Are you committing crimes? On camera? What I'm trying to say is something as easy as just saying more often can help define the type of character that you're speaking as in the moment. It's very cool. And you might be thinking, that's not a character voice. And maybe it's not. But it is an affectation that can help you get the voice of a character in your head and in your players' heads. It makes them more memorable. If you ever bring them back, it's an easy thing to do to fall right back into that character. And obviously, you can just start combining all of this and go nuts. You can up your pitch and your breathiness and hit all the T's really hard and get something that sounds wild. I wish I had thought this through before I had just picked 3 things from this list at random. I didn't like how that sounded, but it was, arguably, a character voice. It doesn't have to be hard. It can be something as easy as just not using contractions. You have enough to worry about from behind the DM screen. You don't need to be juggling accents. There's also a list of things that I wouldn't call affectations, but are things that help you feel like you're doing a character. Other things. Your character can have a word or phrase that they commonly end sentences with. Could be something as easy as right or so or yeah or, something that kind of naturally fits in to speech patterns you might already have. It doesn't have to be one of those things. It could be something really out there. Maybe this character likes to end every other sentence with shiny. I don't know them. Not shiny, I don't know them, but maybe they end it with shiny. I wouldn't fight you on that because I don't know that. Yeah. Maybe this character has a particular nickname or set of nicknames that they really like calling other people. I think this one works particularly well for NPCs. Whether you want to endear the PCs for them and give them something like calling everyone sweetheart or buddy or darling or something like that. Or if you really want to annoy your whole party with an NPC and you just have them call everyone bro or swag master or something. This one I find works really well for recurring NPCs or an NPC who's just going to come back later in some way, because when they come back, you don't even have to describe them or really reintroduce them. If the nickname's stuck, you can just drop it in their re-entry line of dialogue. It's good. Posture. Literally changing your posture to better match the energy of the character, how they would sit, how they would gesture. Are they a hands clasped back straight sort of character, or are they a lounge in the seat, wave their arms around wildly sort of friend? This one, working in this physicality, I wouldn't recommend if you say have a podcast and you need to stay a consistent distance from your microphone to ensure good audio quality. That being said, this is the one I do the most. So listen to Unprepared Casters, I guess. But truly, if you're playing in person, I think nothing helps the confidence that you're embodying and voicing a character more than changing your posture just a little bit. Visualize the character saying the words that you're saying for them. That's nothing, you're thinking. That doesn't make any sense. It does. What this does, in my experience, is get you unconsciously affecting your physicality, adding in just a couple vocal quirks, even little tiny ones that make you feel like you're speaking as that character. If you feel like you're speaking as that character, it translates. Not 100% of the time, not immediately for everybody, but it does translate at the table. It's a make-believe play pretend game. Make believe and play pretend. Now, all the things we've discussed here today are low stress, low risk ways to add just a little bit more voice to your characters. Now, low risk, you're thinking, low risk means low reward. Wrong. Low risk, all rewards. The reward is playing D&D with your friends, and you've won it. Keep doing that. I love you. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. If you want more content from me in the future, make sure you like this video, comment on it, tell me the kinds of things you'd like to see, what you liked from this one, what you didn't like from this one, help me improve, and subscribe to the channel so you can catch everything else as it comes out. You can listen to my D&D playing and dungeon mastering prowess on Unprepared Casters, a D&D actual play podcast that you can find simply anywhere that you get your podcasts. Again, thank you so much for watching. Go forth, play some fun games with your friends, and do not let anyone tell you that you're not trying hard enough or doing enough silly voices for your imaginary make-believe play pretend game. You have my permission to do as much or as little as you want, as long as you and everyone else are having fun. Because it's a game, right? We should be having fun. I truly can't believe that now, at the very end, is when Hermes decides to hang out. You could have been here the whole time. He doesn't respect the hustle.